All right, shalom everybody. Rob Van Hoff here with TelosTorah and Rob on the Rock. Going to be going over a bit of our Torah portion right now. We're going to be looking at Genesis 28, verses 10 through 22. We're going to just go over it in Hebrew fairly quickly, but I'm going to bring up the dry erase board, and we're going to go over a particular Hebrew word here, the word makom, place, which is used many different times. And so we're going to see some Hebrew in action here as well in terms of grammar. So for those who've done a little bit of Hebrew or studying Hebrew, perhaps this will be helpful. All right, well, our Torah portion begins in 28:10, and I'll read from here. I've got the NASB on the right hand, and what the Hebrew text we're reading is a transcription, a very accurate transcription of what we call the Leningrad Codex, which was the scribe copied out the whole Tanakh in the early year 1000, probably in the 1008 or maybe 1009. We even know the name of the scribe, and we know a lot about it now that we didn't know even just 20 years ago. But here we go. We're going to read from this digitized version of the Leningrad Codex. Genesis 28:10 through 22. Vayyetze Yaakov mi be'er shava. Now, normally that would be Beersheva, but it's in pause, and so we have a alternative vocalization here that's happening. Vayyetze Yaakov mi be'er shava. Vayelek harana. So Jacob left, and he went out, and then we see the preposition min is attached here in its shortened form, mi be'er shava. He went out from Beersheva. Vayelech harana, and he headed towards Haran. So Harana, in the other video I did on Rob on the Rock, we talked about Artsa v'nei Kedem at the end of Genesis 29:1. He went landward towards the land of the sons of the east. Harana, also, it's Haran with the locative hey at the end. Vayyetze Yaakov mi be'er shava. Vayelek Harana, and Harana, towards Haran. Vayifga bamakom, and he came across a place, Vayalin sham, and he stayed the night there, right? Or he lodged there. Kiva hashemesh, because the sun had gone down. The sun had gone, literally. The word for sun here is shemesh. Vayikach me'avnei hamakom, and he took from, again we had Vayyetze, min, right? He went out from. Here we have Vayikach, min. He took from me'avnei hamakom, from the stones of the place. Vayasem me ra'ashotav, and he made them a pillow for himself, basically. He made himself, now you see the word rosh, which is a word for head in me'ra ashot, but it's understood me'ra ashot means like, basically it's a place to lay down his head. The NASB here says a support for his head, me'ra ashotav. Vayishkav bamakom hahu, and he laid down in that place. I'm going to make this a little smaller so we can see. Verse 12. Vayachalom. That's the complete sentence. One word. Vayachalom. And he dreamt, or he dreamed. Vehine. And behold, sulam mutzav artza. A ladder is a sulam. This is a unique word here. Sulam mutzav, stationed. A ladder, stationed landward. Again, artza here is landward, towards the ground. Ve rosho magia hashamayma. So we have Eretz and Shemayim here, just like we do in Genesis 1, but both have that locative hey in the same way that Harana did at the end of verse 10. Harana. Here we have Vehine sulam mutzav arza verosho magia hashamayma. So hashamayma means heavenward. So we have a sulam, that's a ladder. Klimax in Greek, where we get that word climax. Klimax is a word for ladder. Mutzav arza, stationed earthward. And it's fixed. So mutzav comes from natzav, and it means like standing strong, fixed, stationed. Verosho, and its head, magia hashamayma, reaching or arriving even, reaching heavenward. And then another hine. Vehine, malachei Elohim olim v'yordim bo. And behold, malachei Elohim, messengers of Elohim, olim v'yordim bo. Two participles, one from ayin lamed hey, the other from yod resh dalet, going up and coming down, bo, on it. Now we assume bo, the antecedent of this masculine pronominal suffix, is the sulam. That is on the sulam. Yeshua in John 1, of course, says the O is the Son of Man, on the Son of Man. So that's another big discussion we're not going to get into here. But again, this is a halom. This is a dream. A third hine, vehine. So remember, it says vayachalom, and he dreamed. Vehine, sulam, right? Behold, a ladder. Then we had vehine, malachei Elohim, and behold, messengers of God. And verse 13, a third hine, vehine, Adonai nitzav alav, the Lord himself, stationed on it or over it. And again, is it over Jacob? V'hinei Adonai nitzav alav. Well, the sulam is mutzav. Sulam mutzav. Mutzav is a participle from the same word as nitzav. Adonai nitzav alav. Is God the ladder? Is Adonai the sulam? Or over Jacob? Or is it over the ladder? Again, the translation says the Lord standing above it. Or is it above him? In other words, it's the sulam. And it's supposed to be mysterious to us because it is, after all, a dream. Vayomar. And he said, Ani Adonai Elohei Avraham Avika. I am the God of Abraham. I am the Lord, the God of Abraham, your father. So here, Abraham is called Jacob's father. Not his grandfather, his father. Velohei Yitzchak, and the God of Isaac. You'd think it would say, I am the Lord, the God of Abraham, and the God of Isaac, your father. But no, Avicha is after Abraham. And then we have the Vav and the God of Isaac. We continue. I'm not going to address all the mysteries. There's a wonderful passage. Can't talk about everything here. But continuing on in verse 13, Haaretz asher ata shochev aleha, the land which you are reclining on or laying down on, lecha etenena, to you I will give it, ul zarecha, and to your zera, your seed. V'haya zaracha ka'afar haaretz, for your seed will be as the dust of the earth, ka'afar haaretz, like the dust of the earth. ופרצת ימה, וקדמה, וצפונה, ונגבה. And so your seed will be like the dust of the earth, and you will spread out. Varatzta. Seaward. So remember we talked about artsa, earthward, hashamayma, heavenward, harana, haran, or haran word, W-A-R-D, right? Directional. Yama is seaward. Seaward, like S-E-A-W-A-R-D, seaward. So that's to the west. Kedma, that is eastward. Tzafona, tzafon is to the north, northward. Negba, the Negev is south. So see how these all end in the locket of hay. Seaward, towards the Mediterranean. Kedma, that's eastward. Northward, southward. And then we have our wonderful reiteration of the blessing. V'nivrachu v'cha kol mishpachot ha'adama. And they all will be blessed. They will be blessed in you. Who? Kol mishpachot ha'adama. All the families of the earth. Uv zarecha. In you and in your seed. And then another hine. Vehine. Now, but this hine is the Lord's words to Jacob. Vehine anochi imach. Behold, I am with you. Anochi imach. Ushmarticha. And I will guard you. Bechol asher telech. In everywhere you go. Basically, bechol asher telech, in all which you go. In all which you will go. The NASB says, wherever you go. I will guard you wherever you go. V'hashivoticha el ha'adama hazot. And I will cause you to return to ha'adama hazot, to this adama. What a wonderful promise. The God of creation, the creator of heaven and earth, the Holy One, is telling Jacob, who has yet to know his name will be Israel, who is fleeing, not because his brother said he's going to kill him, but because his mom and dad are telling him he's got to go and he's got to get a wife. But he says, Ushmarticha. That's that key. That's right from the priestly blessing. The Lord bless you and keep you. And keep you and guard you and protect you. I will protect you everywhere you go. And I will cause you to return to this land. He's getting an assurance of safety, not from other men, not from his own parents or his family, but from the Holy One. Isn't that wonderful? Ki lo e'ezavka, because I will not forsake you. I will not leave you. And then it says, Ad asher im asiti et asher dibarti lach. I will not leave you. I will not forsake you. Now it says, ad, until, ad asher im asiti et asher dibarti lach, until I have done that which I have spoken to you. So God knows what he's going to do in advance. He communicates it in advance. He tells Jacob what he's going to do. He's assuring him he's going to do it. And he says, I'm not going to abandon you. What a wonderful words of assurance for Jacob, who's going out into a world of chaos. He has no idea what, he's not going by knowledge. He's never been there before. It's all brand new. Everything he's doing is brand new. He's going out on faith. And we need to address this. And I will not forsake you until. We got to be careful how we hear that in English. I will not leave you until could be understood in English as once I've done these things, I will leave you, right? If you say, well, I'm not going to leave, let's say I'm busy, I'm not going to leave your house until certain people arrive, then I'll leave, right? And so it's like until seems to be marking a moment where I will no longer be with you. That's not how we're to read this, though. We don't want to let our English brain take over here. He says, Anochi imach, I am with you. He's not leaving him ever. So the phrase just means an assurance that all the time that Jacob is away from the promised land, God will never leave him. What a wonderful promise. Verse 16. Vayikatz Yaakov mishnato, and Jacob woke up from his sleep. Vayomer, and he said, Achen yesh Adonai b'makom hazeh, the Lord is in this place. Va'anochi lo yadati, and I did not know. Verse 17. Vayira, and he was afraid. Vayomar, and he said, Ma norah hamakom hazeh, how fearful, norah, how awesome, perhaps, this place is. Ein ze ki im Beit Elohim. It is no other than Beit Elohim, which I think is like he thinks it is like a temple, a house of God. V'zeh sha'ar hashamayim. This is a gate. This is the gate of the heavens. This is heaven's gate. Verse 18. Vayashkem Yaakov baboker. So Jacob got up early. Vayashkem means you get up really early. Vayashkem Yaakov baboker. He got up really early in the morning. Vayikach et ha'even asher sam me ra'ashotav. That's back to our earlier verse. And he took et ha'even, means he took the one stone, which he had set as his pillow. If you go back to the beginning here of our Torah portion, I'm going to scroll back here. Hopefully no one's going to get dizzy. In verse 11, it says, Vayikach me avnei hamakom, vayasem me ra'ashotav. He took from the stones of that place, and he set his pillow. So technically, we're not told in verse 11 how many stones. Now, it would be strange to have multiple stones, but if they were maybe smaller, he could put a couple and arrange them a certain way. Only here in our verse that we were just at here, down in verse 18, Vayikach et ha'even, here we're told specifically it was a single stone. He took the stone, et ha'even, asher sam, which he had set, me ra'ashotav, his pillow, vayasem otah matzeva, and he set her, because otah, that's just the feminine direct object, he set her, placed her matzeva, as a matzeva, which is a memorial stone, and it probably upright. So the visual that I get here is that it's a oblong, like a watermelon, like an oblong shape, and he sleeps on it, sideways, and then he is now putting it straight up and down. Vayitzok shemen al rosha, and he poured shemen, that's oil, al rosha. So here we see rosha, that's her head, rosha. What's the her? Evan. So Evan is feminine. It's a feminine noun. It's a segelet, right? So Evan. Rosha. Remember when we saw the sulam, it said rosho magia Hashemayma. Where did that go? Way back here. Verosho magia Hashemayma. Rosho, its head. So Rosh O means head of him, pointing back to the Sulam. The Sulam is masculine. But then back again, hopefully not all the scrolling gets you dizzy here. Rosha, her head. So Rosho, his head. Rosha, her head. Vayikra et shem hamakom hahu Beit El. And he called the name of that place Beit El, short for Beit Elohim, like he said. Ve'ulam luz shem ha'ir larishona. It says the name of the city, Larishona, in ancient times was Luz. Here we got Rishona is based on Rosh also, but it has to do with temporal time earlier. Verse 20, Vayidar Yaakov neder lemor. Vayidar Yaakov neder. What is that? Jacob vowed a vow. So here we have what we call a cognate accusative. The verb is from the root nun dalet resh. It's a pei nun verb, so the nun assimilates into the dagesh of the dalet. Vayindar. Originally it would be sometimes with the pei nun verb, that is the initial letter being of the root being a nun, it's preserved. Like in Aramaic, we see it preserved quite a bit. Here in Hebrew, it usually doubles the letter that follows it. So Vayidar Yaakov, and Jacob vowed, and then the accusative here, or the object, is neder. Another seglet, we had Evan, here neder, a vow. Jacob vowed a vow, lemor, saying, Im yechye Elohim imadi, if God will be with me, u shmarani baderech hazeh asher anochi holech, and if he guards me on this way which I am going, ve natan li lechem leechol uveged lilbosh, and he provides for me bread to eat, clothes to wear. Remember in Matthew, Yeshua says, don't be worried. What am I going to eat? What am I going to wear? Right? We're identifying with Jacob in our faith. God gives us these things. And he gives me lechem le'echol, veged lilbosh. Notice lechem, another seglet, beged, another seglet, clothing. V'shavti v'shalom el beit avi, and I return v'shalom, in shalom, to my father's house, Beit Avi. V'chaya Adonai li lelohim, and indeed, Adonai, Yod-Heh-Vav-Heh, will be my Elohim. Verse 22, V'ha'even hazot, and this stone, asher samti matzeva, which I have set as a memorial stone, Yihyeh Beit Elohim, it will be, that's why he called it Beit El, the house of God. V'kol asher titen li aser a'asreinu lak. All that you give me, aser a'asreinu lak. This is what we call a infinitive absolute. I most tithe, basically tithing, I will surely tithe it to you. So it's not give a tenth. It is, I will assuredly tithe it. We have this aselenu, this enu, I will tithe it. That means I will give a tenth of it. We have that it. Now, we don't have it in here. I will give a tenth of it to you, but it should be there. Okay, so a lot of that passage that we could continue to talk about, but I'm going to bring over now our dry erase board, and I want to go through, I highlighted the places where we have this word makom. And so, oops, I got to get to our passage here, because we're just going to be looking in chapter 28 of the uses of makom. So you see them here in red. Now, what we're going to notice is, I'm just going to write them out. So first one, we have our word. What's our word here? Our word is place. So mem, kuf, vav, mem. And the vocalization is a kametz and a cholam. Makom. Makom. Place. And we're going to see this. It's used 6 times just in this passage here that we read. We can say, and what we're going to notice, we can say in this place. Well, if I was going to say in a place, indefinite, I'm going to put my bet and a shavah. Be makom. Be makom. In a place. But notice that's not what we have here. What we have here is ba makom. We have bet, dagesh, patach, dagesh. Ba makom. That means it's in the. It's definite. And how we get there, and we'll see that in a minute. But if we just are going to say the place, we're going to say ha makom. And the he takes a patach, dagesh in the first root letter. Ham makom. Ham makom. And so our ham, and then we have a doubling. Ma kom. Ham makom. That's what that definite article does. It doubles that first letter of the word makom. So ham makom would be the place, and we'll see that in action here. Ba makom, if we add the definite article, or if we add the bet now, we would say, well, we've got be. How do we add be here? Well, what we call the hey of the definite article, we call elides. It elides. And what we're left with is the ba. So now these are 2 different types of dagesh. The first dagesh is the dagesh kal. That's just the dagesh because it's a bagad kafat letter. But the dagesh in the mem is called a dagesh chazak. It is a doubling of the letter mem. Okay, so the first usage here is just simply bamakom, in the place. In the place. Okay, now we're going to continue on here. 3 times in this first verse. The next time, hamakom. We already saw that. That's just, so we had bamakom, in the place, now just hamakom. But look at the third. Bamakom hahu. So here we have ba makom bamakom hahu. Well, what's that? Bamakom, in the place. Here what we have is the independent pronoun, the independent personal pronoun hu, which means he. It's a third person masculine singular. It is saying he, but it's being used here adjectively. Bamakom hahu, in the place, that one. In the place, that one. Because remember, in Hebrew, when we give an adjective to a definite noun, if I'm going to say, well, let's say same word. I'll say a big place, right? A big place is going to be makom gadol, or a great place. So makom gadol. If I want to say the big place, I'm going to say ha-makom, ha-gadol. And we've got that definite article now on both. And now we've also, I'm going to zoom in here, the dagesh now has shifted. So the dagesh in gadol is the dagesh kal, because it's a bagad kafat letter. But once we have the definite article on it, like we see here below, that is a dagesh chazak. That's a doubling of the gimel, hag gadol. But anyway, the place, the great one. And we have agreement between the adjective and the noun that it's modifying. So gadol is masculine singular. Why? Because makom is masculine singular. So when we say ba makom hahu, in the place, that one. For those who've done a little bit of Hebrew, hopefully you'll be able to track here. Now look at Genesis 28:16. We have another construction with ba makom. Let's write it out here. Ba makom hazeh. Maybe you've heard ha'olam hazeh, right? This world, the world of this one. Ha'olam hazeh. Ba makom hazeh. In the place, this one. In the place, this one. So we say hazeh is a demonstrative pronoun. A near, zeh, all by itself, is just this. No dagesh in the Zion, right? Because there's no dagesh kal. It's not a bagad kafat letter. So why do we have a dagesh with hazeh? Same reason we have one with like in that example, hagadol. Bamakom hazeh, in this place. He's saying God is in this place. Now, the next verse, verse 17, we have hamakom hazeh. So now it's just, we take off the letter bet here. Oh, I forgot the dagesh. There's supposed to be a dagesh there. Hamakom hazeh. Hamakom hazeh. In the place, or not in the, pardon me, here. It's just the place, this one. How awesome is this place? It's just this place, hamakom hazeh. In Hebrew, we're saying the place, this one. When I said that place, hamakom hahu, the place, that one. And that is the last one we're going to look at here in 28:19. Hamakom hahu. So all these examples, I'll just write it right under here. My Hebrew's a little sloppy today. Ha, dagesh, makom, hahu. Hamakom hazeh, the place, this one. Hamakom hahu, the place, that one. So that's some Hebrew we can review now from our beginning of our Torah portion. Going back to 28:11, we just have ba makom. Remember, our key word here is simply mem, kuf, vav. Mem, makom, like that. And the root is kum. We should say that. Kuf, mem, which literally is the verb to stand up. But it also has a sense of existence. There's a sense of to be with kum, to stand up. makom. So makom is what we call our absolute form. And here we have it with the definite article and a preposition, be, ba makom, in the place. Then we just have ha makom, the place. Then we have ba makom hahu, in the place, that one, because hu matches, right? It has to agree. And that's the distant demonstrative. So we're using the personal pronoun to accomplish that. In the place, that one, because that's what Hebrew does. And then in verse 16, ba makom hazeh, in the place, this one. And then verse 17, ha makom hazeh, the place, this one. And finally, 28:19, ha makom hahu, the place, that one. So just in our Torah portion, we have we have more too. I guess I could give you one more because there's more than in chapter 29. I'll give you one more here. Is makom, not in its absolute form, but in its construct form. So this has to do with the place that the stone, again, we're going to see it has a suffix here, which is referring to a stone, but this time it's a different stone. It's the stone that is covering the well for watering the flocks that Jacob moves. And here, makom, so remember our absolute form, I'll write it one more time here. My memso feet is kind of ugly here. Okay, makom. That's what we call our absolute form. Our construct form is mem, kuf, vav, mem. But, boy, that is ugly. Mekom, like that. Makom. Makom, place of something. Place of. So makom would just be a place. Makom, where the initial vowel gets reduced to just a slur, a vocal shava, it is makom, place of. Well, what's happening here in Genesis 29:3 is where we have this construct form written what we call chaser. Chaser means lacking, but it's not like it's lacking, like it's, because they also translate it defective, but it's not like broken or flawed. It just means the letter vav there is not necessary. The mem, kuf, cholam. And then we're going to put a suffix. So it's now mekom. So do you see it's the same word, mekom. These are both equal construct forms. They both sound the same way. If someone was reading it aloud and you just heard it, you're going to hear mekom. You're not going to know how it was spelled. Doesn't matter. You're going to know it means place of. But what we're going to see here, I'm going to go back to I'm going to add, let's erase that now. We're going to add two things. We're going to add a preposition. Preposition is going to be le, to, and I'm going to add a suffix, her. How do I say her place? Ah. That ah ending. And yes, this is it looks like a hey with a dagesh. It's not. This is not called a dagesh. This is a mapik. A mapik. A mapik is, it's mem, pe, yod, kuf, like this. A mapik is what's inside there. And that's telling us that this is a feminine suffix. Mqomah, mqomah, her place. Now I'm just going to say, I want to say to her place. I'm going to bring over my lemqomah. And Hebrew, if you remember, if you've done any bit of Hebrew, Hebrew does not like that. you can't have two shavaz at the beginning of a word. And so the first one becomes a hirik. Limkoma. So this is a construct of makom. Makom becomes makom. And it's the construct form that we can put the suffix on. Makoma, her place. And the antecedent of that, her, is Evan, the stone. Makoma, her place, the stone's place. And then to that we can put the preposition limakoma, to her place. Now in English we'll say to its place, because an Evan, a stone, is an it. So there you have it. And well, I should give one more example too, is that you can have, here, let me move this down here. You can put the preposition on the absolute form also. So like you can have makom, and if we put our lamed, I want to say to a place, it'll just be le makom. But when we use the construct form on the top one, and we're going to put a suffix makoma, her place, limkoma, to her place, le makom, to a place. And then if I want to say to the place, so le makom, to a place, if I say la makom, to the place. See, there's a dagesh now. In the top two here, there's no dagesh in the mem. Here, there's a dagesh in the mem. Okay, so just wanted to do a video getting into some of the wonderful things that we learn from our Torah portion, and that we can zero in and bring some sort of lesson of the Hebrew language and learning the language of the Torah while we are studying the Torah portion. All right, everybody, I hope this was a blessing to you. Shabbat Shalom.